Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Tracy's Florida Homestead and our spooky, scary, spectacular. We're sorry that it's a day late, but we were down in Tampa picking up our niece, Raven Renee, as you see sitting in front of you. And tonight's reading is going to be done by my son James. Tonight's story is called The Devil's Wedding. It comes from the Spooky South book, and it is taking place in North Carolina. Okay, so we hope you like the story. Stick around and come back and see us for further adventures. Now, without further ado, here's James and Raven with The Devil's Wedding.
There was once a young proud girl who lived in a huge mansion, not too far from Guilford County. Her father doted upon his daughter and indulged her whenever he could. When she stated that she was not going to marry any man unless he came to her dressed all in gold, her father made no objections. The girl's little brother, who was very wise, told her that she would live to regret her rash words. But the daughter just laughed at him. One evening, the father and mother gave a fancy ball for their daughter. Everyone who was anyone. The daughter danced and laughed and flirted with all the young men, but none of them caught her fancy. Her little brother, bored with the party, went down to the gate to talk with the coachman. While he was there, a fancy carriage, driven by a hooded, featureless man, and pulled by 4 fine black horses, stopped at the gate. A handsome man, dressed all in gold, stepped out of the carriage. "I am here to see the man of the house on business," the elegant man said to the gatekeeper. The little brother watched the man from behind the gate. There was something not quite right about the man in gold, but he could not put his finger on what was wrong. The gatekeeper, awed by the fancy carriage, the fine black horses, and the gold clothing, let the man in at once. As the man entered the courtyard, the little brother bowed to him and said, "I will take you to my father." The father was pleased to meet the elegant man dressed in gold. "It seemed I had interrupted a ball," the man in gold said after they had been introduced. "I could come back another time." "Oh no, sir. Please join us. My daughter would like to meet you," said the father. Indeed, the daughter was thrilled to meet the handsome man dressed in gold. She abandoned all the other young men and would dance with no one else the rest of the evening. The little brother stayed in the ballroom studying the elegant man, partnering his sister. Something was not quite right about the man. Then the little brother noticed that the elegant man's boots were too small for his size, as if his legs ended in something other than feet. Yet he danced with grace and skill. Between dance sets, the little brother said to his sister, "Sis, didn't you notice the man's feet?" "What about his feet?" asked the daughter lazily, waving her fan and watching the man in gold pouring her a drink of lemonade. "His boots were too small, and yet he danced as if his feet were normal. You should ask him about it." "Ask him yourself," said the daughter as her escort came back with the drink. "What is your wish to ask me?" inquired the man in gold. "What is wrong with your feet?" asked the little brother. The elegant man raised an eyebrow, then frowned as if he thought the boy's question impertinent, but he answered it. "When I was a child, I fell into the fire and my feet were partially burned off. Fortunately, I overcame my handicap." The man in gold bowed to the daughter and swept her onto the dance floor. The little brother frowned. It seemed to him that there was still something wrong. He studied the man in gold intently. The man's hands looked rather strange. They were gnarled and red, with very long nails that looked like claws. When the man and sister returned to their chairs for a short rest, the brother said to the man, "Did you burn your hands too?" "Really, brother?" His sister was annoyed. "That is rude. Apologize immediately." The little brother apologized, and the man in gold graciously accepted his apology. But the man's eyes were cold, and the little brother felt it pertinent to leave the couple alone. By the end of the ball, the man in gold and the daughter of the house were betrothed. The man, impatient to claim his bride, told the parents that he would take her to his home, where they would be married. The parents were dazzled by the man's obvious wealth and agreed to let their daughter go away with him. The daughter, thought completely infatuated by the man in gold, was a bit nervous about marrying in such haste. "I will go with you gladly, sir, but I'm going to a strange place and wish to have someone from my family accompanying me. My little brother will come. Will you come?" The little brother agreed at once. He didn't like the man in gold and did not want his sister to marry the man. The man had his carriage brought around, and he settled his bride-to-be and her brother inside. The little brother looked out the window and saw the man in gold toss an egg into the air. It transformed into a large bird. "Hop and skip, Betty. Go along and prepare the road for us," the man said. The large bird flew away. The man stopped in the carriage, and the featureless coachman drove them out of the gate and down the road in the direction of the large bird had flown. The man in gold was silent, gazing out at the dark night. The daughter took her brother's hand. Her fingers were shaking. The little brother squeezed his sister's hand and looked carefully around the carriage, seeking something to aid them should they need it. He saw a grubby sack underneath the seat across from them, where the man in gold sat. Otherwise, the carriage was empty. Ahead of the carriage, a glow appeared on the horizon. It grew brighter and brighter as the carriage drove towards it. Smoke filled the air and blew into the carriage. The daughter and her brother started coughing. "Sir, we cannot go that way. There's a fire," said the daughter. "That is just my men burning off the new ground for my crops," the man in gold said impatiently. "Please, sir, we cannot breathe through this smoke." "We must turn aside," said the daughter. She was very nervous now. And this is a picture of them in their carriage racing down the nighty woods. The man in gold was looking less and less like a handsome man the closer they got to the fire. "I will check to see if there is a clear path," the man in gold said. He asked the coachman to stop, swept up the grubby sack, and stepped out of the carriage. The little brother saw him take an egg out of the sack and throw it into the air. It transformed into a large bird. "Hop and skip, Betty," the man said. "Clear the smoke for our passage home." He stood watching as the large bird flew toward the fire. "Brother, I am scared," said the daughter as they watched the man out the window. "Sis, you should be scared. That is no man. That is the devil." The little brother reached under the opposite seat, searching for something he could use against the man in gold. He found an egg that had rolled out of the grubby sack. "Come, sister," said the little bird, and he pulled his sister out the door on the far side of the carriage. Then the little brother threw the egg in the air. The egg transformed into a large bird. "Hop and skip, Betty," said the little brother. "Carry us home." At once, the huge bird picked them up in its claws and flew the brother and sister back to their parents' home. The daughter was very glad to be back home. She wept and told her parents the whole story. They were grateful that their children had escaped, but the little brother was not so sure they had escaped. While the parents led the daughter to her bed to rest, her brother slipped down to the village to talk to Mary Brown, the local wise woman. After May Brown heard the little brother's tale, she nodded her head. That bird will fly right back to the devil, and the devil will know your sister has returned to her home. The devil will come for her, since she is promised to him in marriage. What should we do then? Asked the little brother. I will engage the devil in a riddle contest, said the wise woman. If I win, then the devil will leave your sister alone. If I lose, then she will have to marry him and go to live with him in General Kling's town. What's General Kling's town? Asked the little brother. General Kling town is what we wise women call hell, and May Brown soberly, because the devil clings to people, tempting them to do wrong, and is generally hard to remove. Just then, they heard a thunderous cry of rage that echoed through the whole city. There was the sound of hooves racing towards the mansion. The devil is coming, said the wise woman. She took the little brother by the hand. They hurried up to the mansion, meeting the devil in his black chariot. As he came driving away from the house, the daughter cowering beside him. He looked nothing like a man now. He was glowing red, with black eyes, horns on his head, and cloven feet. The devil pulled the horses to a stop when he saw them. His eyes met those of the local wise woman. The little brother could tell at once that they knew each other. When she saw them, the daughter begged them to save her. Is anyone here? Anyone here? The devil said softly, his eyes glinting. Name of Mary Brown, from General Klingtown. I am here, said the wise woman. My name is Mary Brown, but I am not from General Klingtown. What is weather than any sheep down in Klingtown? Said the devil. Snow, and the wise woman. Snow is whiter than any sheep down in Klingtown. The devil glared at her. What is greener than any wheat grown in Klingtown? Grass, said the wise woman. Grass is greener than any wheat grown in Klingtown. What is bluer than anything down in Klingtown? The sky is bluer than anything down in General Klingtown, said the wise woman. The devil was furious. He was only allowed 4 riddles, and Mary Brown had answered the first 3 correctly. What is louder than any horns down in General Klingtown? Asked the devil. Thunder. Thunder is louder than any horns down in General Klingtown, said the wise woman. The little brother knew the wise woman had answered correctly, so did the devil. He hopped up and down in his chariot, beside himself with rage. The devil had lost his bride. I will have your soul for this, May Brown, shouted the devil. May Brown removed her shoes, tore off the soles, and threw it to the devil. The devil caught the soles in his hands, so gripped it so hard it started to burn. The devil stared at it in disbelief. The devil thought he could claim Mary Brown's soul, but she had tricked him by giving him the soles of her shoes. The devil howled, and chilling sounds that haunted the little brother's dreams for the rest of his life. Then the devil threw the daughter out of the carriage. She landed at her brother's feet. The devil tossed an egg into the air. It transformed into a large bird. Hop and skip, Betty, take me home, said the devil. And with that, the devil disappeared. I hope y'all enjoyed our story for tonight. That was The Devil's Marriage. in the spooky self story.
Beyond that reek.